All right. Well, I'm going to get this kicked off now. And so I will give a brief introduction. So thank you all for joining us for the Now AI platform, What's New in the Zurich release for app development. As we get started, I want to go through our safe harbor. So this presentation may contain forward-looking statements that are based on our assumption on what is currently available at the date of the presentation. So please do not make any purchasing decisions based on anything that I say today. These Zurich capabilities are currently released, but we will kind of talk about some forward-looking pieces. As a heads up, let's jump through our deck. We have future events, so please look forward to some of these future events that we have live on ServiceNow. We do have a schedule available to you. There's a lot of great content that comes out on a monthly basis, so we've got a ton of these sessions, so please keep an eye on those as well. And as an introduction, my name is Kieran McMorrow. I am an App Engine Outbound Product Manager, and I have been with ServiceNow for 4 years, and I have been a part of the ServiceNow ecosystem for just about 10 years. So my products that I cover are under the App Engine portfolio. Those are ServiceNow Studio, Creator Studio, App Engine Management Center, and Dev Sandboxes. But today I'm going to talk to you about all of our application development capabilities that have come out in our Zurich release. There's a lot of exciting pieces. There's a lot of items that I personally am excited about because they're part of my product catalog, but also for what they kind of portend for the future of application development on the ServiceNow platform. So the big pieces that we're going to talk about today are going to be around ServiceNow Studio. Some of the really large features like source control integration. We're going to be talking about Dev Sandboxes, which is a net new capability that I personally am excited about because it is one of my products. We'll talk about app governance, App Engine Management Center, Creator Studio, and we are going to talk about Build Agent. Build Agent is a new capability that we do have currently just released on PDIs and for your own instances as a trial. So that's another piece that we're going to talk about and also demo for you today. And then we'll talk about our ReleaseOps capability, which is actually a platform capability. It's not explicitly underneath our App Engine, but it is a capability that we're very excited about and was released in our Zurich Store 1 release. So the first pieces that I'm going to talk about are ServiceNow Studio. I do also want to let you know, this is going to be an interactive session. I'm going to do primarily most of the talking, but please feel free to raise your hands. I do have my kind of partner in crime, Craig Riegelhaupt, on the product marketing side, who is also very knowledgeable about our App Engine and app development capabilities. So he's able to kind of flag some of those questions he might pop off and ask me some of those live on air. But I do want you to feel comfortable to also ask those questions in chat, and potentially we can get those answered for you as well. So now that we've got that out of the way, we'll talk about some of the exciting capabilities that we have in ServiceNow Studio. So in our Zurich Store 1 release, this is a big thing that for me is personally exciting because this means that ServiceNow Studio is now at parity, feature parity with our App Engine Studio. So we now support source control. So this allows developers to manage the versioning with push, pull, branching directly from inside ServiceNow Studio. So this means that you can, if you've previously been using source control to manage your application development, you can now do that inside the context of ServiceNow Studio. So we have the ability to link that to source control right from the app details page. And this allows, if this is kind of your current deployment mechanism or a way of working with applications in your organization, ServiceNow Studio can accommodate for that. Gives you a lot more ability to work the way that your company is used to working and wants to be able to work. So this is going to be a big feature for us in the Zurich Store 1 release. One of the things that we've also heard is that a lot of companies who had been using App Engine Studio as their primary development environment really liked the format of seeing kind of an app's metadata and how it was structured. So when they started using ServiceNow Studio, they said, hey, we'd love to be able to replicate that capability. And so our inbound product management team heard that, and they have made modifications to our app details page. So this surfaces the metadata inside your app in a way that's kind of more consistent with how you're used to working in App Engine Studio. So you have all that metadata sorted by data type, by user interface type, by automation, by security. So it just allows you to kind of surface those metadata pieces in a way that's immediately parsable, grokkable by you, and just navigate the components of that application much more simply. This is another feature inside ServiceNow Studio. It's the ability to focus the file navigator. Just as a little context, I previously worked as a developer inside ServiceNow and as an architect as well. And so I have my own preferred ways of working, but I think often as you develop applications, it's very easy to kind of get lost in context. You're jumping between different apps, different files, and that's something that can kind of take away from your ability to really focus on that mission critical piece that you're working on. So this ability allows you to, if you have multiple files open inside ServiceNow Studio, you can right click on the header and you can say show in file navigator. And what that's going to do is change the file navigator to be in context of the app or metadata that you have open. So if you have a particular file type, a role, you can right click, and that way it just allows you to have a better visibility into where you are in your application development, which app you're inside of, and kind of reduce that context switching that might take you away from your productivity time. So as a developer, this is something that was very exciting to me because it means we're really focusing on kind of those critical abilities that make a difference to you as an application developer, and somebody that we really want to include these capabilities that are going to enhance your life developing on the ServiceNow platform. So this is another capability. We are incorporating Analysis Skill Kit and AI Agent Studio inside the taxonomy. So as you are developing an application, if you wanted to add an agentic skill or an AI file, you can now do that from within the context of ServiceNow Studio. So this does open these experiences kind of in an external capability window right here. So you can actually create those skills. And you're going to see further integration of the ability to add agentic AI capabilities, workflows, skills inside ServiceNow Studio as we move through our release cycles. So in Zurich release, we've got this first capability, but keep an eye as we move through Zurich Store 2 and into Australia for more integration of these AI-driven capabilities. This is another developer piece, really focused on that kind of developer-centric, working the way that you work and allowing the tool to kind of be nimble and adjust to your working style. So dark mode, I think for a lot of people, this might seem not like a critical capability, but this is really part of that ethos that informs how we develop these tools. We want to make sure that the tools accommodate to you, your working style, so that you surface the right data, it feels comfortable and allows you to do your best work. This is another one that I would say is more of a quality of life improvement. But for developers that are just coming on board, starting to work inside ServiceNow Studio, under the resources tab, there's a link to go to documentation so that you can actually quickly jump to the most recent up-to-date resources. And really, we're looking to improve the onboarding for new users for when they're seeking guidance, rather than having to go out and search for a particular documentation. You can access it right from the context of ServiceNow Studio. And I'm just going to take a look real quick at the chat to see if we've got anything going on. We do not have it. Oh, we do have one Q&A right now. So I'm going to just pop in right here real quick. Based on Zurich's ServiceNow Studio capabilities, should we start planning to deprecate internally or remove the dependency of older tools such as the ServiceNow, the original Studio? So I would say ServiceNow Studio is meant as a replacement for the legacy Studio. Now that we do have the full integration with source control, you can start planning to deprecate that initial Studio. I would say other tools such as App Engine Studio, Creator Studio, these all work in parallel. So primarily, if you're getting value out of using App Engine Studio, that's absolutely fantastic. It can serve different personas. But I would say that we tend to think about ServiceNow Studio as the front door of application development on the Now platform. So it is not a replacement for anything besides that legacy Studio that you've used for a long period of time. So legacy Studio still is a capability, but that is the piece that I would say you can start thinking about moving away from, because ServiceNow Studio incorporates all the capabilities of legacy Studio and adding additional capabilities as all of our builders are integrated into ServiceNow Studio. And as more builders come online, they will be integrated into the context of ServiceNow Studio. Okay. So this is another capability that I'm personally excited about, and this is Developer Sandboxes. You might have heard some about Developer Sandboxes, but Developer Sandboxes are an ephemeral instance that enable modern concurrent development with isolated environments on that shared host. So it allows teams to build and test in parallel without disruption. So essentially what this does is you're able to create multiple sandboxes on a singular instance. So these are instances that can be spun up or spun down that are kind of those sandbox pieces on that specific instance. Essentially, they're clones of that instance that allow you to provision them to particular developers so that they can work in isolation and make changes, really push the envelope on what they're doing for those, solve for those particular tasks. And when they're done with that task, potentially those can be spun down. They really allow you to do parallel development in a controlled, independent environment using the sandbox host metadata. So when you clone those, they are essentially clones on that instance of that instance. And so you can have multiple developers working on concurrent stories without having to worry about those collisions that you typically would. So those instances can be provisioned instantly on demand. And for specific tasks, there are some organizations that decide to keep those instances up, but they are really meant to be ephemeral. So that means if you have a particular sprint, you have a particular thing you're developing against, you spin up a developer instance, one of these sandbox instances, and develop against that. And then when that sprint is done, when that task is done, you can deprovision it. And by allowing that spin up and spin down cycle, you ensure that those development tasks are done against the most recent snapshot of that instance that you're working on. So when you have those sandbox development tasks that occur on those sandboxes, those changes are isolated and they can be merged using version control. So Dev Sandboxes is a very exciting capability, really allowing kind of those modern development practices. In that traditional development model, you would have changes for all your developers being saved to the same instance. You have a shared, you share that single environment, and that increases the risk of potential change conflicts. And one instance restricts your team to have a single version of code. When you're doing parallel development using sandboxes, those changes are isolated for the developer onto their current sandboxes, and that removes any of those change conflicts. So multiple versions of those changes can be saved and more merged using source control according to your best practices. One thing I would talk about with our packaging for developer sandboxes, these are a standalone SKU, and we do sell them in packages of 10. So these entitlements are bound to a single instance, and they can't be split across multiple instances. You can buy multiple entitlements of these 10 abilities, and you can stack those. So we can do potentially up to 30 sandboxes per instance. So there are scenarios where we might be able to support more than that, but it does require us to work with your support team. And so potentially we would need to evaluate those. But sandboxes are a really critical new capability that allows your organization to scale your development without having to risk conflicts. So this is a big piece that I would say keep an eye for. And if you'd like, reach out to me and we can kind of work through talking more about it, because it's something that I personally am very passionate about. So App Engine Management Center. This is a piece that I keep telling folks, App Engine Management Center is a key piece of application governance, of custom application development on the ServiceNow platform moving forward. It's always been a critical piece, but moving forward, it's even going to take a larger focus, especially moving through 2025 into 2026. So for our Zurich Store 1 release, we are prioritizing most of our engineering for what is going to be coming in Zurich Store 2. This is a piece that I will talk about. It's a little forward-leaning. Tend not to talk about those on these type of things, but I want you guys to get excited about it too. So in Zurich Store 2, App Engine Management Center is going to have ReleaseOps incorporated into this. And I will talk about ReleaseOps moving forward, but that, for you to break it down, is update set deployment. So this is the ability to move update sets using pipelines. That is going to be a critical piece. I think most folks, when they hear that, are going to get excited because most of our customers are using update set deployments. And this is really going to allow you to kind of streamline and modernize the way that you do those deployment tasks. For Creator Studio is in a similar space too. We are prioritizing our engineering for some Store 2 feature releases with some expanded question types, some new customization emails, and additional playbook componentry. This is a piece that I think everybody's going to get really excited about, Build Agent. So Build Agent is a new capability that allows kind of agentic development on the Now platform. So this is vibe coding coming to the ServiceNow platform. So using vibe coding to create and edit apps on our platform. So you can use natural language prompts to complete full stack app dev in minutes. And this is truly a real change to the development paradigm. So you can watch the AI agent plan. You can have it create and edit apps in real time when you have full visibility into what is occurring and how it is occurring. One of the things that I tend to talk about too with this is that this allows you to iteratively edit and refine those apps, talking back and forth. You can ask the build agents to prompt you for kind of some of the capabilities that you're looking for. And we are going to demo this in just a couple minutes. But that conversational agent is embedded inside our ServiceNow IDE. The IDE is a professional development environment currently on the ServiceNow platform. Build Agent in Zurich Store 1 is incorporated into that IDE. But in our Zurich Store 2 release, Build Agent is also going to be incorporated into ServiceNow Studio, which is going to make a big change too, because that is where our primary, as I said, it's the front door of application development on the Now platform. So it is kind of the area where the vast majority of our companies are doing the vast majority of their development. So when we open up that capability in ServiceNow Studio, it's only going to become more and more useful to a large cohort of our customers. So brainstorming with Build Agent. So this is a big piece. Build Agent can lead a brainstorming session with you to help you refine your application idea. So it can capture the requirements. It can use them in future sessions to help you build out your application. So you can say, hey, I want to come up with an idea. Can you help me work through that scenario? And it will do that for you. So it'll start giving you ideas. Help me brainstorm that new app idea. And it's going to walk through potentially, hey, what are you looking to do? What are you looking to accomplish? So this really allows you to kind of leverage the ability of the Now platform to kind of work through whatever business use case you're trying to solve for. And it will actually help you create the idea and then help you build that app as well. You can learn from Build Agent. So you can ask Build Agent about best practice development best practices, techniques. You can ask it about APIs and platform functionality. And it will help you as a developer learn by summarizing some of that documentation, giving you examples of that documentation, so that as you are building out your app, as you're supplementing it, you can use those best practices according to how application development has occurred, looking at existing scripts, looking at existing capabilities. You can also create that app with Build Agent. So after you've brainstormed that, it can actually help create out that application. You can say, I want to create now this component, and it will do that for you. It'll show you how it's done it, what it did, and you can actually go back and ask it to make modifications or unpack certain pieces for you. And you can also test that by having Build Agent help you create ATF test cases that can be run against that application. Documentation too. So you can ask that the Build Agent, once it's built out that application with you, to create a knowledge article based on that use case. So it can create a README file for your source code, breaking this down. So these are all new capabilities that have come with Build Agent. Those applications that it creates are very exciting. They are kind of the first step into using these agentic capabilities to help you do pair and vibe coding on the Now platform. The use cases for these apps are going to sometimes be very specific use cases, but this is really the first step into the vibe coding world as we do incorporate Build Agent into more and more of our experiences. like into ServiceNow Studio, you're going to see that resonance and that ability to scale these applications grow even wider. And with that, we're going to walk through a demo that my good buddy Dale Stubblefield put together for us today. And so I'm going to get this video started, and I'm going to just check and make sure. Craig, when I get this started, can you just let me know if the audio is playing?
Hi, I'm Dale Stubblefield, and today I'm going to take a
We're
look at
good.
ServiceNow's Build Agent. It's a new vibe coding tool in the Zurich release. First, I start in the ServiceNow IDE where I create a workspace. I'm going to try to vibe code a retail camera maintenance application. ServiceNow is a great system to build something like that on, so I'm going to start my workspace. Now that I have a blank workspace, I can create an app, open other Fluent apps, clone a Git repo, and now I can talk to the build agent in the side panel. I can close it and reopen it by clicking the blue button in the corner. I can ask it simple things in normal human language. It runs on Claude 4 Sonnet. I have a prompt prepared to help get myself started a little bit faster. While I look over that prompt with you, I'm going to tell it to brainstorm new app ideas with me and kind of see what it recommends. I'm going to switch to the Employee Center for a second so I can read this knowledge article. I could do a long Q&A session with Build Agent and even continue that conversation after the app is built to make changes to it and add new features. So I'm going to give it a name, a purpose, and a UI styling in this prompt that I'm going to copy and paste into the Build Agent. You don't always have to build this way, but this really helps kind of demonstrate how many requirements it can handle. So you can see I'm going to integrate with the CMDB. I'm going to
I see that Samira has her hand raised. Samira, would you like to ask, come off mute and ask a question, or do you want to ask it via the chat? Okay, I'm not seeing the question. So, Samira, if you want, just enter the question in the chat, and we can get that answered for you.
try to reuse ServiceNow tables. I want some role-based security, automate things with some business rules, make a nice dashboard, create sample data, add integration features. So 7 really major things to add there, each with their own individual stories to complete. We have some technical specs I like to add and some deliverables. So what I can do is just copy this prompt. It doesn't always have to be in a knowledge article, but it's a nice, easy way to see what the prompt is. So back here in our workspace, we can see it gave us some good recommendations. And I'm just going to paste that same prompt in there. It may not look nice, but Build Agent doesn't need it to look nice to interpret the things that I've instructed it to do. So we can see that sound means it's figured out how it wants to go about building this. And I'm just going to say approve, and it will get to work. So as you can see, it's already scaffolded out a basic file system. It's kind of keeping track of the output of what it's doing with the server. Now, as it creates a Fluent project, Fluent can use node packages. So you'll see an npm folder pop up, and you'll see it start installing lots of npm dependencies, which is really normal for this kind of application. I've sped up this next section for the sake of time. The timer is in seconds and minutes. As I've given it the prompt, it's building out the files, testing things, and seeing if it meets the original requirements that I gave it in the first prompt. The build agent has not finished the app. It's actually stopped to show me the checklist of things that it has completed, and then asked me if I wanted to go ahead and continue building the rest of the application. So I type yes, because of course I do. And now, just a few minutes later, it's wrapped up the rest of the requirements. It's done some diagnostic testing to check for any syntax or logic issues. And the build agent is ready to deploy the app. So I'm going to go ahead and click approve. That will convert the app from Fluent code to an XML-based app. that can live right in the ServiceNow instance. I clicked the link from the agent and it took me to the table that it created of cameras. This is a CI class, so it gets all the goodness that comes along with the CMDB. It also has a link to the main dashboard, so I'll go ahead and click that and let's see what it built. Wow, as we can see, it made the portal. It matched the branding we suggested. It looks cool. It has a main dashboard. We can also check out the list of cameras of sample data it created. That name matches the one in the portal here. Pretty cool. I can check out the list of cameras and even schedule maintenance for each of the cameras. Well, as cool as this portal is, I noticed that I actually misspelled the name of the company. It should have been Electritech. So I can actually just ask the build agent to go change the name of the company in all the appropriate places. So I'll just spell the name of the company correctly. I'll put a dash just to make it really obvious. And I'll tell it to update the company name on the main dashboard. Now, this might take a developer, only so long with the find and replace tool. The build agent is not just doing that, it's actually checking to make sure logically this is going to make sense to change it in certain places. And there you have it. You can see that it changed the logo at the top of the dashboard page to be Electri-Tech. So that concludes the demo. I'll fast forward through the rest of it, but as you can see, Build Agent was able to meet the requirements of this retail camera maintenance app in a record amount of time.
So with that, I will go back and I want to answer some of the questions that we had in chat. So there's a lot of interest in Build Agent as a capability, but one of the pieces that was called out, one of our anonymous attendees said, is there a sample prompt of what a well-secured solution should look like? Vibe coding is fun when playing around or prototyping, but customers might easily assume it's production ready when it might not be. So that's one of the things that's important to call out. These applications that are built out currently using Build Agent often are going to need further levels of scrutiny. The build agent has the ability to really kind of go through and rapidly prototype some of these ideas, but they are kind of standalone experiences that don't necessarily fit into the same ecosystem with the rest of your application development. And so what I would say is you might need to have concerns about kind of the field level encryption. Those might be pieces that you would need to have enhanced ability on, but these are really good experiences to help iteratively design, come up with prototypes, and then further work on those. But one of the things, as I did mention, when we integrate Build Agent into the context of ServiceNow Studio, you're going to see more of these use cases open up so that those Build Agent developed components, application experiences are going to further align with the way that your kind of natively compliant application development and have that work in the context of those existing applications that you currently have developed out. So right now, it's really a great experience to play with, and that kind of leads us into this discussion. We are releasing, and it just came out this week, is a trial of Build Agent. So Build Agent is now available on your instances and developer PDIs. You get 25 free user interactions for 30 days. There's no cost, no commitment. So you can, on your PDI, log in and actually start working with Build Agent to kind of see how this capability is going to work, see how vibe coding works in the context of ServiceNow, and really see how these kind of ideas can really start germinating the ability to rapidly prototype out ideas and see how agentic development is going to work for you moving forward along with the ServiceNow platform. So you can currently install this on your instances using the Build Agent trial app. It is available from the store today. So please go ahead, go get that installed, start playing with it, see how it works. Because it's a critical new capability. And it currently has a lot of really exciting use cases, but it is going to become even more exciting as we start integrating it into other parts of the platform. We've got a question from Maria, does Build Agent support app creation with a service portal interface? So what I would suggest is go play with Build Agent, see what you can do with it. One of the people that plays with it and pushes that envelope is Dale Stubblefield, and he's been finding all these different ways you can push the envelope with it. So I would suggest you go do that. From my understanding and my usage of it, no, we don't currently support service portal interface because this is using our domain specific language Fluent. Service portal is not a Fluent based language at this point, but I would say that moving forward, you're going to see more capabilities, more metadata pieces supported by Build Agent. But I don't have that explicit timeline to provide to you. So this is one of those exciting capabilities, but for me, all of these capabilities are very exciting because it does really indicate that as we are moving through and iterating on the App Engine capabilities, those app development capabilities, we're providing more ability for you to really accelerate how you not only develop applications, but also publish them, how you deploy them. So this is a piece that I also wanted to talk about because I mentioned previously in the AEMC section, ReleaseOps coming to AEMC. I want to give you just a brief introduction. So ReleaseOps is a platform capability that came out in Zurich Store 1. And this is a new way, a structured way of moving update sets and application changes between your instances. So this replaces manual steps with automated pipelines to handle the sequencing, validation, and your instance authentication. So you create releases. In each of those releases, group deployment requests that can contain update sets or app installs. They can do run automated checks, tests, and track that progress. So the result is that you have cleaner, more predictable deployments. You have full visibility into what's moving and why. And so this is that centralized way of managing those pipelines, those releases, and those deployment requests. In our Zurich Store 2, you are going to have the ability to quickly change over inside AEMC to use ReleaseOps for your pipelines. So this is going to be a very simple process that allows you to maintain your existing pipeline-based deployment, but have it switch over to use ReleaseOps so that you can incorporate update sets into those pipelines. This is a very exciting new capability because it does allow you to kind of align to more of those traditional release-based processes and ensure that it is much more automated, it's clean, it's auditable. So this is definitely going to be a new capability. We have a lot of content that's been put out on ReleaseOps, so I would encourage you to look for that. We have some very exciting sessions that were done on YouTube, so keep an eye for that. My colleague Javon Jot did a webinar that I would encourage you to go check out. So I would say in general, put AI to work faster using our customer success group. So if you want to maximize the potential of our AI platform, consider working with ServiceNow Impact. So our Impact team can help provide you with support and expertise to get to your value fast. We do have ServiceNow University. This is a critical piece. If you want to learn about our new capabilities, if you want to get certifications, go check out ServiceNow University. It's really was a boon to my career when I was a consultant, always making sure that I got certified, but I would suggest go learn as much as you can. And also look for our expert services. Our expert services folks can really help you accelerate what you are doing at your organization for application development. Thank you so much for joining us today. Once again, my name is Kieran McMorrow. I'm a principal outbound product manager. And so reach out to me if you're interested about Creator Studio, ServiceNow Studio, App Engine Management Center, or Developer Sandboxes. I would love to meet with you and your company and help support you guys on your journey and get the most usage out of our tools. Because I think all of you realize when you are able to expand the capabilities of ServiceNow with your own custom workflows, works better. You're able to really kind of accelerate what you can do in the reach of your product.